commencing with the right ear, and you can see this wax extends all the way from the entrance of the ear canal to the patient's eardrum. The average length of one's ear canal is around 26 millimetres, so 2.6 centimetres. And we're just near the entrance here, and we know that because you can just see the bottom left, a few cilia. So the hairs in the ear canal are located on the outer third, the cartilaginous portion, and the majority of the hairs are actually on the posterior lateral cartilage. So when you look into the ear, so it's where the first bend is. So the ear canal has two bends. The first bend is about 0.5 centimetre into the ear canal, the second bend a further 0.5 centimetre. And the hairs are only found in the outer third, so that's where the hair follicles, the roots are located deep in the cartilaginous portion. And typically you can see this is the patient's right ear, so the posterior canal wall is on the left, so you can see that's where the majority of the hairs are. The patient had used a few drops prior to attending. They used hydrogen peroxide drops, and I find that actually turns the wax into almost a mushy consistency, like a wet mud or mashed potato, making it harder to remove actually. Nonetheless, we are managing to slowly bring this forwards. So this is the first bend here. So where the left-hand side, you can see the hairs. That's the first bend of the ear canal. And the suction process got blocked there. I'm just trying to give it a little wriggle. So this is the first bend. And let's see if we can also show you the second bend. And the second bend is just here to the right, where we just went past. So that's the second bend. And after the second bend, the ear canal more or less straightens. And that S-bend, that curvature, is an evolutionary trait designed to protect the eardrum from any objects going directly into the ear and then therefore perforating the eardrum. So I've got the blockage out, just a bit of wet wax here. This is considered a spot of wax near the top of the eardrum. We're going to leave that because it's not going to improve the patient's symptoms. It is a bit of a wet, mushy wax anyway as well, so it's a bit harder to suction. And given it's not going to improve the patient's symptoms, there's no need to remove that. So a bit of wax is good for us. And see, nice healthy eardrum. So this is the patient's left ear. There is a bit of an opening just at the top. And in a moment I'm going to use the Jobson horn, but I think initially I'm just using the Zollner suction probe. And so in the case of the left ear, the posterior canal wall is to the right. You can just see those hairs, and that's the first bend. And the second bend is where the plug of wax is, just to the left. You'll see the ear canal there. So it gives you an idea of the architecture, the curvature of the ear. So just using the Jobson horn, because it's that mushy, soft wax, you can get in and behind. So I did manage to remove quite a lot with the Jobson horn, but eventually I did put some olive oil spray in to the patient's ear just to change the consistency, and I reverted back to suction to get it out in a big plug. So just to the left here, that's the second bend of the ear canal. So when we are near the second bend, I think around the second bend and further in your ear, that's your bony part of the ear canal. Sometimes when you look in someone's ear and they've obviously got no wax, and you can look at the ear canal and the skin complexion, you can actually see where the boundary is. So the skin that lines the outer third of the ear canal is a bit thicker. It's about 1 millimetre in thickness, whereas the skin that lines the bony part of the ear canal, the inner 2/3, is about 10 or 15 times thinner. So you're looking at less than 0.1 millimetres in thickness. And sometimes you can just see the change in skin colour in the ear canal, and that's the boundary. So again, just to the right, that's the first bend. And the second bend is here, where just on the left, this is where the second bend is. So I know I've mentioned that a few times, but just wanted to reinforce that. So as a viewer, you're kind of aware of the architecture. Now, most people's ear canals also incline upwards slightly, around 30 degrees trajectory. And the ear canal itself, so if you imagine it's cylindrical, but the diameters change. So near the entrance, you're looking around, I would say, width-wise, 0.6 to 0.8, I would say, and height-wise, about 0.7 to 0.9. Then the bony part of the ear canal, where it meets the osteocartilaginous junction, so we call it, where the second bend is, you get an isthmus, a narrowing, so probably be at 0.5 millimetres to 0.7 width, and the height, and this is all averages, 0.6 to 0.8. Then the ear canal does widen a lot, and then about 0.5 centimetre near the eardrum, you get another natural narrowing called an isthmus, and then it protrudes back outwards again, the ear canal. And the eardrum on average is about 0.8 to 1 centimetre in height, and the width is probably about 0.7 to 0.9. So most people's ears, the height is greater than the width, and that's what gives the ear its oval shape. You do get variations to that. Some people have got very circular ears, so there's a constant radius diameter of the ear canal, and the height is equal to the width. So I've just put some olive oil drops in, so you can just see again, the first bend to the right, second bend to the left. There's a bit of dead skin there as well. So what I do with the endoscope, I position it just past the first bend, and we stretch the ear to the right, and that straightens the ear canal. You can see that little brush strokes movement. I'm just lifting this gently off the posterior canal wall, and then giving it a little wriggle, squeezing it out of the ear canal. You can see how glossy it is with the oils, giving it a glossy look. Textbook eardrum, you can actually see the patient's incus there. I'm just going to mop up around the edge. So this is just where the cartilage portion is meeting the bony portion, so we can just put a bit of pressure here. It's not going to cause the patient any symptoms. A bit of dead skin as well. A lovely light reflex. So actually here the endoscope is probably 2 centimetres away from the eardrum. We still get a lovely view. Just mopping up near the entrance here. And you can see the annulus there. So the annulus is the white ring around the circumference of the eardrum, and that's a fibrocartilage, and it gives it kind of almost acts if you've got a tent and your tent hooks pulling the strings down on the tent to give it that rigidity, and that's what that annulus does. So the annulus can run from 9 o'clock to around 3 o'clock around the periphery of the eardrum, and it's a thick white fibrocartilage, and it just gives almost pulling the eardrum down, giving it rigidity. I hope you enjoyed that video.